Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Irish Angle on Jump To It. I'm joined this week, as usual, by Johnny Ward and Emma Nagle, and we're going to look back at the Galway Festival, all 7 days of it. Hello, Johnny. Hello, Emma. How are you? You were there this week, Emma. You went down a couple of days.
Hi Vincent. Yeah, I was there Wednesday and Thursday, so it was a great week. Great mix of winners over the week and good crowds as well. I know I was down with Small on last year, but there was a great atmosphere on the track and it was a great week overall, I think.
And what about you, Johnny? Did you enjoy watching it? I know you didn't make it. You weren't 100% during the week, you were telling me.
No, I don't know, was it food poisoning or something, Vinny? Obviously we had a long day after the All Ireland final, but I got over that, and then I went for dinner, and I wasn't right for a few days, so I actually missed Galway, but really enjoyed it. I think there were loads of stories. It was a real Galway festival in terms of storylines, but unfortunately, I think we're all just waiting to hear what happens to Wesley Joyce, because that totally overshadows everything, and. Or my thoughts are certainly with him. Galway is a great meet. It's racing is racing. Accidents will happen, and we've had some bad injuries sustained by jockeys, obviously at various tracks around the world. Galway being among them, and we just hope that Wesley Joyce will be okay, because I think that overshadows things. We were just talking about it pre-show, and my thoughts are with the kid at the moment.
Absolutely, and his family must be going through an awful time with this. Let's hope we hear some good news now in the next few days that he's making some start of his recovery. It'll obviously be a long time before he's 100% again, but please God he will be. Going on to, let's look at the days, and we'll go through them Monday to Sunday and just see what we can pick out, some of the highlights for us all. The first one is Monday. We had Patrick Mullins, Echoes in Rain, winning the Connacht Hotel Qualified Riders Race, used to be called the GPT, one of the big ones, their amateur derby. That was his 16th time riding in it, and he absolutely hosed up, didn't he? What did you think of it, Emma? Did you, was he one you backed or not?
Yeah, she was definitely one I fancied coming into it. She was a class horse in a race, like wasn't she? Grade one winning hurdler. She was drawn out in the car park, but she made it look fair easy. Geez, her class really just shone through, didn't it? I'd say Patrick was delighted to be able to get her into it because she was just a mile clear of the rest. I was slightly disappointed we didn't see her in the hurdle then later on in the week, but no, it was great to see a horse of that class being at Galway.
And a man of his size doing a flying dismount, that has to be a first, without a doubt. What about that
Yeah,
opening day, Johnny? We also had a treble for Jessica Harrington and Shane Foley the opening day, which they had a very good week all round, but I suppose they were bringing form into the meeting, whereas plenty of others weren't. I noticed there were quite a few horses that seem to have done nothing all year till they get to Galway. That seems to be the normal rule. But the Harrington Foley camp, they were certainly on fire in the weeks coming into it, had a great opening day and kept it up during the week. Very good performance from both of them. But Patrick Mullins, he was certainly the highlight of day one. Same for you?
Yeah, in fairness to Jessie, the month of July has been incredible. Really, I don't have the stats, but she must be hovering around 20%. It's just been start to finish for her in July, and that relationship with Shane. Fair play to Shane. Sometimes if you're in a job, and you think life can pass you by at times in jobs where you don't want to change your career, you don't want to change your job. In any walk of life, and I think Shane, in fairness to him, he decided that he wanted to change when he was sort of with Michael Halford and doing bits of freelancing, and look at where it's gotten to him too. But Echoes in Rain, Vinny, yeah, like I mean, the big thing for me here was her draw, and I know it's 2 miles around Galway, but there was a very difficult challenge to get her into a nice position without forfeiting a load of ground from, I think, gate 21 she was drawn, and Patrick pulled it off. I think statistically it was a total anomaly he hadn't won this race, and there are some good jockeys who haven't won this race, but she had plenty in hand, and it was kind of the story of the week. Willie's horses were basically very, very good throughout the week. Patrick had a good week, and this was one, in fairness to him, that I think he did want to win, and he can put that to bed now.
Well, if we talk about the draw, we move on to Tuesday, which had Magic Chiega of Brian Duffy's coming out of stall 19 in the BMW mile. Of course, it had Colin Keane to help, but that was some performance. To win from there for a stable that only has four horses. Hard to believe, only his fourth winner of his career.
Yeah, this is I don't know if there's a better jockey at Colin Keane in Ireland in full stop, actually, but in terms of negating a bad draw, like this was I really struggled to back a horse like this in a race as with so many runners around Galway, with so many variables, to be drawn 19, and your race is gone after a furlong. Now, what happened here was I'm not sure what my thoughts are. I know Tony Mullins has spoke about about this before, about potentially limiting the number of horses one trainer has in a race. I'm not sure, Aidan McGuinness had 8 of the 18 runners, and we've seen, in Irish Nationals, and we've seen in various races, Willie and Gordon dominating. I think it's a little bit strange at times, and this race was kind of run, I think, to suit Ada's horses. It was run at a mad gallop, but Magic Shagega happened to be in a very good position. I mean, basically, she was the horse you kind of wanted to be on the whole way, and there was a mad story behind this. Brian Duffy only has, I think he's 4 horses. He works in customs, I think, is his day job. He just took out the trainer's license. He's a native of Trim. He's a mate of the Keens and Colin and his dad, Ger. Got this horse anyway, ex-Derma Weld. Brought her and Man 4 to the races, Vinny. But given that little attention to detail of the smaller trainer, Man 4, apparently she's just a bit flighty, or she, if not claustrophobic, she can get a bit worked up. So they brought them in 2 different horse boxes. But the dad's one, I think it essentially broke down. So in the middle of the Midlands in Rochford Bridge or somewhere like that, they took the 2 horses out, walked them around a car park. It was actually the car park of the local church. So maybe they said a prayer. They put them into the one box and with no divider, that's all they had left. Went to the races and won one of the biggest races in Galway. So it's a great story altogether. And now Brian is wondering, do I go full-time training, or do I stick to the day job? And I would say stick to the day job and do this part-time, because I think it's probably too difficult, but fair play to him either way.
Well, there you go. He's a man what works in logistics or something, and now he's only got 4 horses under a restricted license, a training license. Then we have a man who did something similar on Wednesday. Emma is Shark Hanlon. He used to be a cattle dealer. Now he's a racehorse trainer, and a big one at that. He's hit some week. Fantastic week for him, but Hewick was some performance.
Yeah, and he's well able to pick up a horse for the price of a cow. God, 800 quid. He's won the Bettery 6-5 Gold Cup at Sandown. Now he's won the Galway Plate. I think he's after winning over 300,000 in prize money. What a story it is. It's kind of, it was a great thing to happen, because it kind of keeps the dream alive for the small owner and the small trainer. It just kind of proves you don't have to spend 100, 200,000 to have a top class chaser. And wow, it was some performance. I mean, coming into the race, he obviously had massive form in the book. He really skated home in the Whitbread and Sandown, but there was kind of questions about him dropping back in trip. But he proved his doubters wrong, and he did it in style. God, he was brilliant. He was hampered coming up the home straight, but his class really shone through, and they're touting him now as a Gold Cup horse. Whether he's that good now, we'll have to wait and see, but I wouldn't be doubting him again after that time, because he was just electric. I'd have to give a mention as well to Durasso. I thought he ran a massive race in second. He's just such a likeable horse. There's not many horses. He ran the Punchestown Gold Cup in April, and he finished 3rd. There's not many horses will come back off the back of a Grade 1 win, or Grade 1 over hurdles over 2 miles and then come and finish 2nd in the Galway Plate. So he's just such a versatile performer, and it was just a great race overall.
Yeah, the thing with Hewick as well is he could well be a Gold Cup performer. He's only 7 years of age. He's got his whole life ahead of him here in this racing game. He carried a big weight as well. Obviously, Jordan Gainford gave him a great ride, particularly with the loose horse, because that must have been a scary moment for everyone involved with the loose horse dragging him across to the far rail up the straight. But that's one thing that I don't quite understand in Galway is you take all the flat races and even, hurdle races, obviously there's a hurdle in the straight, but you take all the flat races, they come into the bend, around the bend, into the straight on the far rail, yet every single time in a chase they come up the near side. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but they always seem to come really wide into the straight in chases. Perhaps it's the angle of the last 2 fences that pushes them out there. We're moving on to Thursday with another big story here. Tudor City, Tony Martin. What a man he is for Galway. Like, if Shark loves it, well, Tony Martin owns it. That's the bottom line, isn't it? He's had some career here. That was his 4th win in 9 years, and wins the 2nd time with Tudor City. What do you think of him? Johnny, he's some trainer. A small yard at this stage. He was a bigger yard maybe 10 years ago, but he's a smaller yard now, but yet he just keeps producing the horses on the big days.
Yeah, I this was kind of the story of the week for me, even though like Shark getting the horse for small money was probably, I think this was probably exaggerated, because like if you're buying a horse at that age that's going to be a national hunt horse with an unfashionable pedigree, with the cost of training nowadays, these horses are virtually worth nothing. Like they're just, there's so much money that goes into their training fees, the actual value of them at source, they're going to be cheap. But I just like the way the Shark kind of he was there to see another horse. He went home, saw this lad, had a think about him. He said, I'll go and buy him. But Tudor City's story, when this horse won a 3-year-old handicap, remember Dave Keena tipping me the day before, trying to get on that evening in Galway, the days when you actually could get a bet on, not to mind overnight. It was to think he was a 3-year-old by Yates out of She's Our Mare, I think, a real like 3 miles chasing sort of pedigree. And I was saying to Harvey, like, if you're going to win a mile race with this lad, what could he do? I didn't think he'd be even a 2-mile hurdler. But that was like 7 years ago. And I remember watching that. I was with a girl at the time, and I was watching it with her in a wine bar in Salt Hill, and I tipped her this Tudor City, and Franberry got it up in the line. I was flavour of the month for a few hours anyway. But I think the horse will come back all these years later, Vinny, and like it went off 22s as well. I think that's a sign of where Tony Martin is. There was no gamble on the horse whatsoever. He's not the gambling yard that he used to be. Spoke to him during the races about the Galway Hurl beforehand, and he was just saying, hopefully we have some nice horses coming up, because we've just had a lot of dross over the last few years. And I thought this was a great story, because obviously Lee McKenna's first ride this season, Tony Martin had a really lean couple of years. He hit form coming into the festival, but with ordinary enough horses, and I still think he has it, and I still like him to have a winner. I think he's one of the characters of the game, and it was a fantastic performance from Tudor City. To, if I think Francois Dumaine said you're very lucky to get 5 years out of a horse, and they've already gotten at least 7 out of this lad.
Yeah, Tony Martin keeps doing it now. I know you say he doesn't have that many gambles nowadays like he used to, but that unanswered, that didn't have cost me a few headaches during the week. He came out on Wednesday. I thought he was a certainty. He'd gone up £7 for winning in Killarney a couple of weeks ago, and I thought he should have gone up a couple of stone. He'd that much in hand. He comes out on Wednesday in the amateur race, in the 2-mile race, and he'd Billy Lee on him, and he got stuck in traffic, and by the time he got out it was all over, but he flew home, got beaten a neck. Then he came out again on Friday, started the same price, 7-4 again. Everyone lumped on again. Gets done again. He went too soon maybe on Friday. I'm not quite sure what happened. It was a shorter trip. It was only 1.6 miles on Friday, but he got to the front that day, but still got hammered in the end. So looking at Friday, we had the Galway Blazers was the big win here. Gabby's Cross for Rachel Blackmore, and then we also had Shinnock Ella for Joe Murphy and Gary Carroll. That was an interesting one. That won really well, Emma, didn't it?
Yeah, it was very interesting. If you look at his pedigree, he's actually related to, I don't know, is he a brother or a half brother to Swam Fox, who won the big Connacht Hotel a few years ago, and then he went on to be second in the Galway Hurdle on the same week. He nearly pulled off the big double, so he had a massive Galway pedigree, and God, he was fierce impressive. He went up 12 pounds winning in Ballinvobe, and you'd have to think that would have really stunted his progress. He was carrying top weight, but God, he skated home. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. I'd say he might jump a hurdle in time, and to be interesting to see if he showed up in a Galway hurdle in a few years' time and try and do what his brother couldn't do. But no, it was a brilliant win. Again, nice to see the wins getting spread around, the feature races spread around among kind of the smaller trainers. So it was another great story. But
Shinnock Ella is the Irish for another fox, Emma. Yeah, hence the name.
Oh, is that it?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good story now.
Yeah, that horse is very valuable now when you think about it. If Emma's talking about going hurdling, like as you were saying beforehand, Vinny, like he didn't look like a horse that was ready made to defy the height, because it took him a while to actually win his last race. But I guess if you handle the ground at this stage, and you're on about unanswered, I think the ground went for unanswered later on in the week. The ground at this stage was changing, and this is why we got some results like this. But Joe's one of the gents of the game, and I'm delighted for them.
Yeah, he's a lovely man, all right. Moving on then to Saturday. We started off today. It wasn't huge racing on Saturday. We started off with doubles for the Mee family. They'd Merlin Giant in the first and Hallowed Star won the second. Rachel was on that one, of course, for the Shark. And what was interesting here is both those horses had run earlier in the week and got beaten, come out and win then on the Saturday. That seems to be, it's a constant theme to Galway, isn't it? Run as many times as you can during the week. Even that horse, One Cool Poet, who had won 3 times here during the week a few years ago. He hadn't run for a year, came out the first day and ran motherless over hurdles, then came out and ran a cracker the second day on the flat and was very well fancied the third day, but didn't quite deliver. But it seems to be a thing all the way through, doesn't it? And particularly with that Mee family, they seem to be huge supporters of Galway and always want to have a winner at their local track. What did you make of those ones, Emma? Or Johnny?
Yeah, just before Emma comes in, like I don't know, Emma, what the crack is with training horses, because you're told to give them a break. 3 weeks maybe between races. John Ryan runs horses like that goes to 25 times in a year without giving them any break. Jim Bulger ran a 2-year-old maiden earlier in the week and then ran him later in the week, and he beat an 8-15 favourite. And then you have all these other horses. So Emma, from your perspective, I don't know, is there a right way or a wrong way of training horses?
I mean, it all depends on the horse, really. Some of them will be well equipped to run a few times a week, maybe, but you wouldn't be doing it too often now. But it was interesting that Willie didn't go with Echoes in Light again on Thursday. I don't think she'd be the kind of horse who could run twice in a week. She's very hard on herself. But maybe the horses who wouldn't be killing themselves the whole time, they'd be well equipped to run a few times in a week. No, you wouldn't be doing it a few times a month. But no, I suppose everyone just wants to have the big winner at Galway, so it's worth taking the chance if you've the right kind of horse. But no, on the Saturday, Saturday we were talking about the knees. Yeah, they had 2 great winners. Was it Merlin Giant in the first?
Yeah.
Emmett Mullins. Yeah, he's a 40-year-old horse, wasn't he? But he did it well. And then they had Shark's horse in the big feature race. I thought Rachel gave him a brilliant ride, as she did Gabby's Cross. She just keeps it so simple, doesn't she? She goes to the front, and no one seems to be able to catch her when she gets out there.
Yeah, she'd remind you of Holly Doyle, wouldn't she? Another girl who knows how to win races. That's the bottom line. Rachel's fantastic at it. Always, whenever you have a bet on one and you've backed Rachel, you know you're going to get a good ride. That's the bottom line. And then moving on to Sunday, we're talking about horses running several times during the week. We had the big Ahanura handicap over 7 furlongs. Aidan McGuinness, as you mentioned previously, he'd 8 runners in that BMW mile on Tuesday. Then he runs more or less the same 8 in the Ahanura handicap on Sunday and goes and wins it again. Current option. That's some performance. Horse after winning the race, a competitive, very valuable 7 furlong handicap. He's won it 3 years in a row. What do you think of that, Johnny? He'd handicapped him very well, I have to say. He had him £13 lower than he'd been after he won the race last year. He got him dropped £13 in 10 runs before he turned up at Galway again.
Yeah, but sure, that was the horse that obviously lost his form of it. That's what happens. Horses lose their form before Galway, and then they find it in Galway. But like Ado had the first, third, fourth, fifth, 7th. So he's an awful lot of prize money. The horse I tipped was 6th, actually. Majestic Holter, and a nice race. But to be fair to I think Ado McGuinness is a kind of a, let's make things happen type trainer who essentially targeted horses for races like this. And a lot of the time, then you will get horses who not only will take to race like this, but the likes of Bowerman and other horses will win good races, and that will basically develop into good horses that will pay their way and then some. And if you're the Shamrock Thoroughbreds, maybe you're a little bit frustrated with the way the week worked out in terms of current option winning this, but Lafamina ran a very good race, and Ado has such concentration of these horses now that he nearly has half of the field in one of the big races in Galway, nearly 2 of the big races in Galway. So I think that's testament to his entrepreneurial skills as well. And as for the horse, it was a hell of a performance. I think the ground probably did come kind of right for him. At this stage, it was soft to heavy on the National Hunt track. Would have inconvenienced a lot of horses, including the horse I'm going to put up from the week. But so superb performance from horse and trainer. And not to mention Keemac Redmond again, who I thought showed a lot of balls. He's only a five-pound claimer and rode very well.
Yeah, it's also worth to mention to the second horse in that Honest Session, which is after finishing place in that race 4 years in a row. Was second to Current Option last year as well, second again this time. They must be going mad. They keep coming over. Well, they run well, get prize money, but not quite what they're hoping for, I suppose. And then looking at the other big wins of the week, one of them, this is one that caught my attention anyway, was a woman called Sandra Fowler. Won the Best Dressed Lady competition and picked up 10k. First time a Fowler's ever won for me anyway. And the other one for me, Emma, you have to explain this one to me. It's called the Best Dressed Lady competition, and she wore trousers. How did she win?
It's I wouldn't know too much about it myself now, but it started off a bit of controversy online. Or people were saying maybe she did it. Look, I don't know. It was a nice outfit. The judges seem to like it. I suppose that's all that matters. But it definitely caused a bit of controversy. 10 grand cash prize. I suppose it's never going to please everyone, but yeah, it was a few comments online now were questioning a bit, but we won't comment on it too much, I suppose.
Yeah. And some other lady that day won 3 grand for wearing a hat.
Yeah.
I don't know why we back horses at all, but there you are. And then the other one is, we just have a quick look at the attendances on the week. They were slightly down. But we had a horse race in Ireland the previous week, issued some statistics for the first half of the year, and overall attendances for the first half of the year have been down 9%. And then we go to Galway, where we're hoping we'll get it to pick up a bit, but it's actually down 9%, the exact same amount as the rest of the meeting. So it seems to be a trend. We're not going to get away from it too soon. But what did you think of the crowds, Emma? You were there Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, traditionally, it's a big day with the plate, but it doesn't tend to attract a huge crowd. Thursday tends to be bigger, and then Friday is generally the biggest day of the weekend. I suppose it's got the leftovers of the ones who were there early in the week, and then you've got all the ones coming through for the bank holiday weekend. Is why that probably attracts the biggest crowd. But Wednesday, did you think it felt like, was there a buzz about the place with Sharks winner, or was that what was needed with Sharks winner, because the crowd wasn't actually that big? We had 16,000 people there turned up for the plate.
Yeah, I was there Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday, like you were saying, it's probably not the biggest day attendance-wise, but no, there was actually a great buzz around the track, even though it wasn't filled to the brims. But no, there was a good buzz. I think there was good mood all around the track. Lots of spread of winners. People were backing winners. Which always doing Galway. The champ Kylie, the winner's horse, got a match here in the first, so that kind of got the day off to a good start. I think a lot of people must have gone against the favourite in that one, but no, there was a great buzz around the track on Wednesday, and then Thursday came and the place was very busy. I think it might have been down a bit, but it was still a great crowd. A lot of young people went racing on Thursday, I noticed. All the time, there was no hassle from anyone, so no, it was great. You have to commend the marketing team at Galway. Sinead Cassidy does a brilliant job down there for promoting everything, and she really didn't stop at anything to make it a great week for everyone. So I think everyone who went racing in Galway during the week really enjoyed their time.
Yeah, it's one track for me that whenever you go to that festival, you do have a good day. Win, lose or draw, you'll always have a good day in Galway. It's great fun. The city is fantastic afterwards as well. It really is one of the places in the world to go racing, in my opinion. So, okay, we're going to finish off now by looking at one horse to watch from each of us for after Galway. What horse did you really think will win again? Johnny, give us one.
Well, you weren't expecting a horse to finish 9th of 15 and 14th of 15 who ran in Galway this week. Can you name him, Vinny?
I certainly can't. No, but I'd say there's plenty of them. Yeah.
Back to half them, I'd say. Indigo Desert, right? Joe Keeling's horse, who won for Mick Halford. Yeah, one for Mick Halford in December on the all-weather, and there was a lot of word for this horse on the Friday night, and as the race day went on, I was saying to the lads who in my punted WhatsApp group, I said, this horse is by Exceeding Excel. He's not particularly stoutly bred on the dam side. It's 1.6 miles, is borderline heavy in Galway. I'm genuinely amazed if this horse, amazed if he can win, amazed if he can get home, not to mind win. And Colin Keane sort of tried to nurse him into the race, and he kind of came up the hill. He came to the hill, and he sort of looked like he'd have a chance, completely cut out. Now, amazingly, they ran him on the Saturday, albeit that was over 1.5 miles. So I think they might have been blaming stamina, and he ran no racing on the Saturday. But again, I wouldn't mind that at all. So I think he'll be totally underrated the next time he runs, because there's plenty of chatter about this horse. The Mullins stable switch. Michael Halford, obviously, he's notoriously kind of patient, I suppose, with his horses. They take time, and this horse had won his second start for Michael Halford at 9-2, so he obviously was already shown up quite well, having not shown shape badly at the Curragh, but there should be loads of improvement in him, and I'm just wondering wherever he goes next, as long as it's nice ground, 1.2 miles, 1.5 miles back him.
Well, that's some dark horse you're after giving us there. He's almost invisible. He's that dark after those two runs. Emma, what did you pick out from the week as being your best?
One who really caught my eye, I actually mentioned her last week, was a lot of joy for Willie Mullins. I thought she ran a massive race in the QR handicap on Monday. She was drawn out in the car park, and she was just kind of eased into it by Barry Neal the whole way around. She was behind a wall of horses. She had nowhere to go, and she was just given a really educational ride, and she eased her way home to finish 4th. I think the next time out, she'd have to learn a lot of experience. I'd say she wouldn't have faced anything like that in Sweden before, so she learned an awful lot. I think she's one who could pop up in a big handicap on the flat. She's in the Ebor in August at York, so I think she's around 25-1 for that. So I wouldn't mind backing on that. I'd say no if she turns up.
Now, we haven't conferred here at all, but the three of us have gone for Willie Mullins horses as ones to watch, because I'm going to pick one as well. A horse called No Risk, No Fun won the last race
Yeah.
on the last day. And this was very impressive in a bumper. It's after winning 2 bumpers now. It was a winner's bumper on Sunday. They'd won previously in Wexford on good ground over 2.5 miles. Comes out this time, drops back half a mile in trip and gets soft ground and still wins very easily. I think this could be a very nice horse. Probably go hurdling. Might win another bumper yet. There could be another winner's bumper for it, listed bumper or something coming up, maybe Listowel or somewhere. But I'd imagine this is a very, very nice horse. The runner-up looks a decent horse too. Another one of Willie Mullins's. So anyway, it was a great week. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully, one of those 3 horses will come out and win a race somewhere eventually. But they're trained by Willie Mullins, so we've got a good chance. We're on the right track here. And finally, just before we go, just thoughts and prayers, of course, with Wesley, Joyce, and his family, and let's hope that all works out well. And we'll see you all again next week. Thanks for joining me, Emma, Johnny. Great week.